Hi, I'm Jake. Today we'll be talking about the tariffs that Donald Trump has imposed on the world. For a few days now, the new tariffs imposed by the United States have caused panic in financial markets all over the world. I'm offering you a chance to practice your English with this global news story, a story that's affecting not just countries but individual people. To review the vocabulary covered in this video, I've written it down below. We'll talk about decisions made by Donald Trump regarding tariffs, custom duties, and we'll also be talking about his potential motivations, why he's imposing these taxes, and of course, we'll talk about the consequences for financial markets, for the stock market, and for businesses. Let's discuss the timeline of Donald Trump's tariffs. On April 2nd, in a speech dubbed Liberation Day, President Trump announced a comprehensive overhaul of U.S. trade policy. He introduced a universal 10% tariff on all imports, effective April 5th, 2025. Additionally, he outlined higher country-specific reciprocal tariffs targeting approximately 60 nations, set to begin on April 9th, 2025. These higher tariffs included 20% on the European Union, 24% on Japan, 26% on India, but the highest out of all of them was China, with a whopping 54% tariff increase. In order to avoid the tariff hikes, many nations agreed to come to the negotiating table, and President Donald Trump announced a 90-day pause on increased tariffs for 57 trading partners, which included the EU, Japan, and South Korea. However, America's biggest trading partner, China, raised their tariffs on U.S. imports to 84% on April 9th. It's uncertain how this is going to end, but it seems that this is the start of a broader trade war between the United States and China and some of its other more important strategic partners. As you've probably guessed, the result will be that foreign products imported into the United States will become much more expensive for Americans. As for how the White House calculated the tariffs per country, that is a major source of debate. The method is not at all clear. Financial markets have reacted globally and very negatively. Many companies' stocks have lost value and the stock markets have plummeted. Wall Street had its worst day since 2020. Tokyo's stock exchange dropped 6.6%, Hong Kong's fell by 13%, a record since 1997. In Europe, for example, in France, indices like the CAC 40 plunged, resulting in massive losses for investors. Why so much panic in the financial markets? Because these tariffs will slow down global trade. If companies sell less, they earn less, and the stocks lose value. Take sneakers, for example. Many sneaker brands like Puma, Adidas, and Nike have factories in Asia, especially Vietnam. Nike, for instance, manufactures 50% of its sneakers in Vietnam factories. That's half of its production. In Vietnam, the company has 130 factories and employs over 450,000 people. With a 46% tax, a shoe that used to cost $100 could now cost $146. That's a huge increase. As a result, the company might make fewer sales and therefore less profit, potentially leading to layoffs all around the world. Naturally, this would mean huge stock market losses for Nike shareholders. But why did Trump do this? Why plunge the financial world into chaos? There are several theories. The first theory, to reduce the trade deficit. A deficit means the United States imports more than it exports. Trump wants to encourage Americans to buy US-made products. He wants to push companies like Nike to bring their production back to the United States. But in the short term, that's probably impossible. It would require factories, equipment, trained workers, etc. The second theory is it is political. Trump may be doing this to please his voters by showing he's protecting the United States economy with a protectionist stance. He reinforces his political image. Third reason, it's purely economic. He wants to use the tariff revenue to reduce American taxes and help repay the national debt. According to the White House trade advisor, Trump's tariffs could bring in $6 trillion over 10 years, but this theory is controversial. Many economists argue inflation could cancel out the benefits. Prices might rise so much that even with lower taxes, Americans actually wouldn't be better off. In any case, one thing is certain: economists say these tariffs will increase prices in stores, so Americans will pay more for everyday products. This will reduce their purchasing power. According to several analysts, Trump's decisions could mark the biggest disruption to the global trade order since World War II. Economists and world leaders are warning that the consequences could be very serious. Some even talk of a global recession, where the economy will shrink. Again, the result would be rising prices and reduced purchasing power, with major consequences for jobs and economies around the world. As you can see, Trump's decisions could truly trigger a global crisis: stock market crashes, companies in danger, and reduced purchasing power for citizens. And you, what do you think? Feel free to let me know in the comments whether you believe these tariffs can truly protect the United States, or, on the contrary, if you think they're counterproductive and could even create more problems. Thank you.